All
kids these days.
right. Well, let's get started. Here we are. B minor, take number 2. For you, number 1, because you're not going to see that one. Who else we got here?
We got Guess Who. No surprise here because of the name of the podcast. But just in case you were wondering, the X Factor is in the building, and he's excited for tonight. Episode 17. Brant, 17 episodes. The 17th time that we got together to talk about everything under the sun. And that's pretty crazy. But I've enjoyed every single second of it. And thank you very much to everybody who's here right now and to everybody that's been listening along the way and to everybody that'll listen later on too. We love all of you.
Love, love, love. That's what I love about the X Factor is he's bringing positive juice. And that's what this B minor and the X Factor is about. It's a tough time in our world right now, but we're loving on everybody, trying to find the positive. We're definitely not immune. We're definitely not ignorant to the fact that there is crazy stuff happening in our world, but we choose to look at the positive while also being a realist and trying to understand and help people through where they're at. So thank you guys for joining us. I'm ecstatic tonight because we have John Bronson. John played in the NFL, 3 years, Cardinals organization, and that's pretty cool. That's cool enough to be a guest on our show, but what is really cool about John is he's an entrepreneur who has his co-founder, and we're gonna get to hear a little bit of this story about the co-founding of, right there, finger licking Dutch, delicious treats coming to a TJ Maxx near you. John, how are you doing tonight?
I'm great, man. I can't complain. Yeah, I can't complain. I'm great. How about yourself?
We're doing good. I'm doing good. X Factor, how are you doing? How are things in Chicago?
You know what, Brant? Can you ever recall one time that you've asked me how I was doing and I wasn't living the dream? Even one?
I can't. I was thinking, that's why I paused on you, but that's your infectious, contagiously positive enthusiasm that radiates from you. So I know you're doing good, but I just had to kind of ask just because not everybody here would know the answer, but I knew what the answer was. I knew it was coming.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing excellent. The only thing that could be better is that I need better lighting in this house for my camera. That's one thing that I've been noticing. I need to get one of those lights, like the ones that you have. You know what I'm talking about?
Light. This ring light.
Yes, I need the ring light because I'm looking at myself. I'm like, man, I look like pixels, and that's not what I look like in real life. Surprisingly enough, I don't look like pixels. I promise. It may be a shocker to everybody here, but yeah. Otherwise, other than that, though, everything's great. Chicago's great. It's cooling down a little bit, actually. We had a couple 90-degree days, which, hey, I'm not going to complain because in the winter over here, I am praying for hot days. It's like -10 with a wind chill sometimes, and it's ridiculous. So I'll take these, but it is getting a little bit cooler. So we're in the 70s, very comfortable for me. So I definitely can't complain about a thing. If I was going to complain, I would be a pretty selfish guy.
We're all doing pretty good, all things considered. So,
Brett, I'll have to say, I have to be honest here, and I actually can't complain. Why I say I can't complain is because right now I'm in Curacao, and so I think maybe Caston maybe have known this already, but I'm in Curacao, which I live a good portion of my time outside, Philly most of the time. But since the whole pandemic, we've been in Curacao. So, and I just came fresh off of 2 dives today to be on this show. So. Wanted to make sure I point that out.
You are living well. You are living well. You are doing it the right way, John, as you should. As an entrepreneur that can work pretty remotely, why not spend it in a beautiful place in the world, right?
Absolutely. Life is about living.
Living life for sure. And I appreciate you. I met you through Caston, who Caston might jump in here in a little bit when we call on her. So she is now making sure she's listening just in case she gets called on. But John, I do appreciate you joining us. Take us through a little bit about kind of from college to your professional career and then how you turned into an entrepreneur. Or were you always an entrepreneur, or is that something you turned into?
Yeah, good question. So I'm from Washington State, Kent, Washington, for those who know where Washington. It's outside of Seattle. That's where I primarily grew up. My dad was an army in the military, and my mom obviously was homemaker for a lot until we got to Seattle. But I think for me, what really started kind of the whole entrepreneurism trail was just kind of seeing a lot of different things when I was younger, just traveling. I was born in Hawaii. I lived in Germany for a number of years. I lived, East Coast, West Coast, throughout the U.S. So I've been able to see a lot. And when you're traveling, you're able to experience a lot of different things than if you're just kind of just in one place. So with that, I've sparked a lot of interest in a lot of different things. I remember when I was younger, I would used to take my mom's stuff out of the house and put up these yard sales and garage sales. And, she didn't like that very much until I actually started selling the things for more than what she had bought it for. So then she was okay with it after a while. So, that was kind of my first little stint back when I was younger and doing little car washes and things like that. Just, getting a feel. I didn't even know what the word entrepreneur meant at the time. So just moving forward, I went through school and ended up going to college, Penn State, on a football scholarship. So, even though I have a heart for entrepreneurism, football was still something that I was most prominent at. And so, just like a lot of athletes, I went the Penn State route and got my degree there in 4 years, and also, it was a 4-year letterman there, and then transitioned. And I was fortunate to become an undrafted free agent to the Arizona Cardinals, and that's how I got to Arizona. So I would say, my first, the first part of my life was filled with a lot of just of everything, and it kind of set up, a lot of the other parts in both, successes and failures, which I'll definitely share. So, yeah, I just kind of pause it there for a second.
No, that's a great intro for sure. Joe Pa, you played for Joe, the legendary coach.
Yeah.
That had to be, an experience, good or bad. Tell us a little bit about what that experience was like playing for those that don't know, a legendary coach, one of the greatest or biggest names in coaching history, I would say, football.
Yeah, absolutely. What's funny about Joe Paterno, for those who don't know, is being from Seattle area, I actually didn't know who Joe Paterno was when I was going through the recruiting process. So it was assumed that I was Penn State for Joe Paterno, which absolutely was not the case at first, right? Until and then you kind of drink the Kool-Aid after a while, and then you understand, okay, was Joe Pa, he has a whole set of different rules and rule books, and it's and the way he does things is a lot different than other coaches that I had experienced did, and even in the recruiting process. So I will say Joe is definitely was a huge factor in a lot of different ways. Obviously, me transitioning through Penn State, really, hello, Jack. I saw Jack said wanted to say something hello, so I had to say hello to Jack.
Oh, sorry,
Jack's upset. He couldn't believe it.
He's like, what?
He's like, hey.
And so, the thing about Penn State and Joe Paterno that I really loved was that you really understood what you were getting into. There was very black and white, and the reason why I like that is because you know exactly where you stood, you know exactly what you had to do, you know exactly if you did something not so good, you know exactly what the consequence was there. And then things in the success route, you also knew exactly what would be rewarded. So with going to Penn State, and whether it was academics and athletics, you really knew where you stood at all times for the most part. And that's what I really appreciate about going to Penn State. And Joe just kind of set that standard, set that bar for not only the coaches, but as you as a player, to be able to kind of be held accountable to every aspect of your life, even as a student athlete, which, I would say is something that's real rare today, and even real rare just in, being a sports student athlete all on combined. That's my opinion.
That's awesome. Those are great takeaways for sure from a legend. We're going to throw some, I want to hear biggest failure. Talk to us a little bit about a failure you've had and how you've been able to overcome that.
Yeah, sure. I think one of the biggest failures that I would say actually came after I got to Arizona. So as I mentioned, I was privileged to go to Arizona Cardinals as undrafted rookie free agent, and played tight end. I played tight end, special teams, and even fullback. But I never forget, when you're in the league and you all of a sudden you kind of, you go from $15 in your pocket to, a nice chunk of change, like kind of overnight, you, really it's like winning the lottery, so to speak, for a student athlete who kind of just scales through there. I wasn't that, that flamboyant with that. So that type of scenario that, money and things like that. So I didn't have to worry about it in that aspect. But one of the failures that I did do was on a business end. One of my first business ventures was with a particular group. Trusted the group for as much as I knew. It was really early. I was 23 or something like that, and it went really south. I call it expensive education. I probably could have paid your kid's college fund or somebody's college fund with what I lost there. But one of the things that I also learned in this aspect was that I was very too naive with who to trust. I did not do enough due diligence, did not do enough my own homework about the people I was doing business with, and had I done even those basics. Oh, excuse me. And the third thing was that I didn't get as much advice and advisor mentorship that I should have to make the best decision. Hello, Jordan.
What? Jordan, no.
He didn't do enough due diligence either, so he's upset as well.
He didn't know that he wasn't muted, and if he did, muted, then about to be removed. But that was wild. Let's go. Sorry about that. Back at
that was a little commercial break, But
make sure everybody's awake, right? Hey,
yeah, exactly.
Hey, yeah.
Well, I'm wide awake after that. Thank you. Thanks, Jordan.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then so where I was going with this ordeal is that had I done my due diligence, I could have saved myself a lot of heartache, also a lot of obviously a lot of money. But in theory, failure in that was really hurtful for me because I was like, it was a lot on the lines on that aspect. So moving forward, long story short, with all of that, it was actually one of the biggest learning lessons that I could ever come by, because moving forward, I did make the same mistake, and obviously ask more questions, do more due diligence, and get more advice on the things that I'm a part of, which is, I've been a number of years now. So yeah, anyway, so that's one of my biggest failures, I would say, as a person in general, sport or sport business or in theory.
Great.
I respect the hell out of that. I respect the hell out of that, man. And that's amazing because like you said, you took it as a lesson. A lot of people would be, damn, I lost X amount of money. This sucks. I'm just going to keep playing ball and forget about the entrepreneurial aspect of it. But no, that's not the way to go. You knew it wasn't the way to go. And,
sure.
Obviously now you are rocking it on all cylinders. So that's amazing well, I'm not going to say it's amazing that you learned the lesson, because I wish it didn't happen, of course. But, that's definitely a very valuable lesson to learn.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, I always want to make a point, like in my case, I wasn't I wasn't a draft pick at all. So, you guys know how, sports, especially like, basketball, football, if you're kind of lower in the totem pole, you really got to kind of work your way up the ladder. And so for me, that's kind of how it was. So I didn't come in with, a first round draft pick money to blow, right? So that blow was a tough ordeal. But, as I went forward in life, it really kind of set the tone, set the foundation for just be able to get more information and ask more questions before, I dive into things. So that's definitely was a huge flop on my part early in my lifetime.
That's a great lesson, though. And Pont is a walk-on at DePaul. So he's a college Division I basketball player at 5'8", all 5'8", D1 walk-on. I was a walk-on. So when you talk a little bit about coming as an undrafted, unrestricted free agent coming in there, what was it like coming in, like you said, with those guys that are first-round draft picks that are signed for all this money? How was it for you, kind of like you said, being the low man on the totem pole? Obviously, everyone thinks it's glamorous because you're in the NFL, but
Yeah.
wow, these guys are about to get X-nayed. None of that. So tell us a little bit about what it was like when you were coming into the league.
Yeah, certainly. So, coming to the league, you're playing with guys like Larry Fitzgerald and, who's still in the league. We think he's going to like a 17th year. And, guys like Kurt Warner, who had also battled and worked his way up to being a Hall of Famer, two-time Super Bowl, so on and so forth. What am I missing? Edgerrin James, who also is going into the Hall of Fame this year. Anquan Bolden. I mean, the list goes on. So, I will say, I was very fortunate to be able to put myself in a position where I was surrounded by a lot of greatness. And looking back, I realized how great they really are. You know what I mean? And so, but with all that said, I just looked at it as one day at a time. And, I took at my situation.
Fat ass horse cock. I just looked up fat ass horse cock.
Wow.
I don't know.
Trolls.
What's going on.
I don't think we've had trolls in here before. We're big time. Let's go. These guys are getting
big time.
booted.
This
This
would happen.
He's got to kick these guys out, man.
Yeah, muted and booted.
There you go. So this is what happens when you're moving up. But hey, kudos to you. So where was I going with this? So for me, it was just about taking it one day at a time, being able to control what I can control and do your best, work hard. And so, I think one of the things a lot of guys in my situation at that time, they get sucked into is trying to kind of stay with the Joneses of those players, so to speak, right? For instance, I didn't come in, like on a status like Larry Fitzgerald or whatever. So I don't have the same leverage as Larry Fitzgerald, right? Or whoever. I'm using them as an example. So you just have to know where you are, understand what you have to do to make the team. That's the bottom line. And so for me, it was, I have to, I got this guy I have to beat out, I have to do this. And so if I take these measures, hopefully I'll be able to get a chance. And that's what was that simple for me. And obviously all the stuff, continue to work hard, do more than what's required. You're a coach, you know how it goes with stuff you tell your players. And that's, for me, that's exactly what I had to do in order to be able to make this team. Denny Green was my coach, if you remember. He was, he was a great coach. He came from Minnesota just that year, and was trying to formulate this new team in Arizona. And that's, how we kind of accumulate all the different type of players that we did all in 1 year. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun.
I bet. That is awesome. That is a great story. Great memories. Take us through kind of the start of Finger Licking Dutch and kind of how that entrepreneurial venture came about.
Yeah, sure. So, I after football, I had a gap where I had done a lot of sports related things. I started a sports network. This is where I met Caston. Caston. I did a lot of sports marketing. Also was the president of NFLPA chapter in Arizona for a number of years. So I did a lot in the sports category. Lived in Arizona for 10 years before I started kind of migrating out. I had a death in my family that really shook me, so to speak. So, I was kind of ready to journey on. So I was traveling and I met my partner, Femke, which in Aruba. And so I was just on a travel. And so we got together. One of our first dates, she gave me this cookie, the stroopwafel. I loved it. Became this huge fan of them. And just, as we continue to get together, she had a lot of connections in Holland, I in the States. And so I really thought there was a market for it. I was ready for a change. She was a teacher. She was ready for kind of a new change. And so we kind of set out to make finger licking Dutch. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of hard work and a whirlwind. But man, it's been an interesting business being in the food business, in the consumer packaged goods business.
I like that. It's a match made in heaven right there. You guys made each other better. The connections came together. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, man. It's been fun. We've been fortunate to just kind of leverage all of our relationships and our connections from, we produce in Holland. I don't know if you guys know how this works. We produce in Holland. So we have to go to Holland like a lot, obviously with this whole COVID thing, we've been kind of stationary as of late, but produce in Holland. We distribute in the U.S. for now, and then then some other parts of the world. So we have a lot of moving parts in this, and with a team that I'm very thankful for, to be able to kind of help marry all this together. So I think I mentioned on top of the call, we just got into TJ Maxx, 900 plus stores, a whole lot more of those coming soon. You'll know soon, but and a bunch of other stores that we're really happy about being a part of. So, it's a fun thing. It's one of those businesses where I would have never thought I would be in the cookie business, and so, but you find something that you just really love, and you really are grab onto, that you just do what you got to do to make it happen and to reach your goals, whatever that is.
That's awesome. Jackson has a question. How have you been able to grow the business since you guys started it?
Yeah, man. So a lot of what we have been doing, or a lot of how we started, was very grassroots. Very grassroots. I remember year one, we had suitcases full of waffles. Imagine this, suitcase full of waffles. Literally, we go knock on every single coffee shop door we can find. Start from Philadelphia on up to to Jersey, to New York, and wherever we was going to next, whether it's Phoenix. That year we started. My brother plays at the University of Washington, so they went to the Rose Bowl, so we went to LA. Anywhere we were going to knock on doors. That's how we got our initial footprint. Eventually you get some traction. People start to like your product, like your story, brand, those three. And then you just kind of grow from there. So a lot of what we've been doing was just getting our product in front of buyers and decision makers who can make decisions on whether they want to carry our product or not. And that's just a lot of sampling, a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails. But we're in a time right now where you think that business would stop, right? At least in our field. We're in the food business, so everybody still has to eat. Well, this has been actually one of the best times, because a lot of the decision makers who usually you can't catch in and out of the office, they're also at home too, on these Zoom calls, right? So it's a lot easier to be able to have a conversation with them, get them down, and say, hey, look, here's what we got. We love to see your samples, give us a shot, so on and so forth. And really, that's been our go-to. It's just really attacking it, just like sport. I hate to be cliche about it, but a lot of what we have been doing has been just like high your sport. Prepare for what you're going to say or your proposal, and then act and react based on the response that you get. So that's how we've been kind of moving and shaking with how we've been growing Finger Licking Dutch, over the past few years.
You kind of pinpointed it a little bit, but I want to ask you a little bit more in depth. As an entrepreneur,
Sure.
This has been such an interesting question to me, and I've been asking business owners left and right about this. So amidst this pandemic, obviously Zoom and other video chat methods have been huge for meetings, where usually you would get on a plane, go meet somebody, they get on a plane, come meet you, whatever the case may be, in-person meetings, whatever, wherever you are, right? How do you feel about this whole Zoom thing, or interactive over video meetings? Are these more convenient, less convenient? Do you see there being a future for this, or do you see it resorting back to the old way?
Look, I think there's always going to be a part of business that's going to still be in a face-to-face environment, sit down eyeball to eyeball over coffee or whatever. But this is a great second alternative, I will say. We are Penn State.
Hey, we got a fan in the chat.
Yeah, Braden. We are Penn State. And, I think Zoom is a great alternative. What it does, it allows still a very personal touch like we have here, be able to communicate and correspond, and then also, deliver whatever message you're trying to deliver. So, look, I think on the decision maker in our case, in the food business, decision maker or buyer standpoint, I believe that a lot of these type of people are going to kind of have a portion of what they do through a Zoom, Skype or whatever. But yeah, of course, they're going to go back into the office. But look, I think they're really going to continue to stick what's working here, just because it has been working. If you look at, and I hate to breaking numbers and stuff, if you look at the sales, I believe the sales in the food industry as well, been going up by 40%, over the past like 4, 5, 6 months. So, I mean, what other industries are doing that right now other than tech, Zoom, being one of those. But it's all how you see things too. And if you leverage what you have available, my opinion, you can kind of find success out of most things. So it's a mindset thing. And I hate, again, sound cliche about it, but it really is. And if you figure out how can we solve this problem? Like how can we solve the problem? Like, not just, don't give the problem, give a solution to how we can solve the problem. If you think of it that way, then you can probably really kind of dive in and figure out most of what you want. So I'll give you a big secret here in a minute on really how we hammer here. And I don't share my secrets much, but I'll give one, since it seems like a lot of people on the call for a big business tip.
Oh man,
I'm ready. Let's go.
My young 21-year-old self, I'm always looking for some business tips. So I'm all ears for this. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so a lot of people know LinkedIn, LinkedIn, right? So have you ever heard of LinkedIn? You just
Absolutely.
Facebook, Instagram. So a lot of people may look at LinkedIn as another social network, right? I don't. How we have this set up, if you were in our space, in our workspace, our office here, you would see that we have Facebook, Instagram, Twitters, and Tumblrs and TikToks of the world. Those are in one box. Those are social networks. And then there's LinkedIn as a sales tool in another network, right? So what we call the social networks is called kind of a vanity validation, right? And something I made up. And the whole reason for that statement is that it's something that it's necessary for people to kind of see your lifestyle, what you do, who you're with, all that jazz, just to kind of stay updated. But does it really produce? Does it produce sales? Does it produce an outcome? Maybe, maybe not, right? Well, over in box 2, you have LinkedIn. Where LinkedIn is usually more people who they're straight to the point business. They're usually more, if not all, decision makers of whatever company or entity that they're with. And usually you can get really direct and get to the point, and you can find exactly what you're looking for. You can have a lot more leverage with that. So for us, being in Curacao, as I just mentioned, we rely about over 90% of our prospecting, of our sales in general, has came from LinkedIn. Now, I'm going to say this and let you know, scale back to who we have. Obviously, we have TJ Maxx. We've been on HSN. Wow, there's one I really want to tell you, but I can't because I'm under basically oath here to do it. But it's super big, and you'll hear soon. If you follow me on LinkedIn, especially, or any network in this case. and there's many others. The point I'm trying to make, we looked at LinkedIn as a sales tool, a tool to be able to grow, and as a place to be able to connect with those business people that we need to be able to scale our business. So if you are not on LinkedIn, first thing you need to do, and you're in business, you want to grow a business, you want to grow your personal brand, whatever it is. If you're looking for an outlet to get attention by decision makers, definitely got to go to LinkedIn. If you're looking to grow your business, if you're just looking to people to check out my dives today, I'll point and make fun of myself. Go to Instagram. You can have fun at that, but my dives are not going to make any. The dives are not going to make any sales. If you go on LinkedIn, you can connect with those people that you can really button down to in the categories that you need in the into whatever business that you're in, and really find exactly who you're looking for and start to kind of grow a relationship with them through LinkedIn, through your posts that you have, through sending them a nice message. If you're like me and you need to send product or say hi every now and then, whatever the case is, but you can grow a relationship through LinkedIn. And I guarantee you will find a better outcome just working with LinkedIn. And look, again, I'll say this last time, I'm pretty confident you can do this pretty much any biz because nobody really leverages LinkedIn like that. But I know it works in our industry. So, and I have nothing to do with LinkedIn. Others a customer just like everybody else who's on LinkedIn. So I just want to point that out.
That's so important. And it's
tip.
Awesome that you said that too, because so I've been working an internship with Northwestern Mutual as a financial advisor. And one of the very, very, very first things they told us was that utilize LinkedIn correctly. You can literally go on LinkedIn. It's so much more unique than the other social medias because on Twitter and Instagram, like you said, you can go on there, see people's food that they're eating, see this and that, and their kids and their swimming and all that stuff. Over here on LinkedIn, you can literally see, this is my name. This is what I do. This is what I'm interested in. Here's all the experience that I have. Let's connect. Everybody on LinkedIn is trying to connect. How can I be of assistance to you? How can you be of value to me? It's so you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
There's so much value to it that people don't utilize. So I love that you said that because I've been getting that impounded in my brain all summer long. And at this point, I believe it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I can look. We've been selling for under 2 years, and I didn't come from. We talked sport earlier. I didn't come from a food background. I don't have a food degree. I don't have anything. I came from sports. Okay, I was an athlete, and then in executive roles. So what I'm saying to you is that we're able to grow based all of that, just leveraging who we are, our brand, our story, and obviously our product. And there's no difference that anybody can't do the same as well. Very tastefully, and just grow a relationship with the people that you're looking to connect with in your industries.
LinkedIn business tip. If you didn't get it, am I muted? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Okay.
Caston can no longer hear us because I think I accidentally removed her when we had those. I think so, because she's messaged me and said, I can't get back in. You're unable to rejoin this meeting because you were previously removed by the host. So those trolls got us. But Caston, she's going to be watching this on replay. So thank you for watching. And she said, oh, I missed it, but I'll get him on the YouTube. So we'll get another view on YouTube. But I feel bad that we lost her. But it was a quick trigger. I was trying to get rid of some of those people that were just, I don't know what you call them, jackasses.
Yeah, that's it. That's good enough.
That's a great way.
Dude, those people, man, like they were just like going insane. Like they were just going insane, dude.
They were going insane. What do you think the next? I mean, besides, do you have other ideas or things that are you happy with riding the cookie wave?
Yeah, good question. I am. We have a lot to do in this industry, and I'll be honest, I didn't know where it was going to go at first. I went from being a customer to going, okay, well, there's a market, right? The U.S. market had not really heard of this, to now going, okay, I think we can really make some serious noise, right? And so, you know, I'm going to kind of just see where things lead right now. 1 second here. I think am I back? Yes,
You're
I'm back.
back.
I'm going to see where things lead right now, just in terms of it. But yeah, the next, you know, 5-year plan or so, I probably will stick on the cookies. But, you know, sidebar, as an entrepreneur, you're always not just doing one thing. So, you know, for me, I leverage other things passively in other investments, you know, real estate being the most important, which has been leveraged, you know, basically forever. So, you know, I think one of the smartest things that you can do as an entrepreneur is, you know, you don't kind of pigeonhole yourself into one ordeal. You focus on one thing. Let me make sure it's clear. You focus on one or, you know, or two things, whatever. If some people can do that. But you have to have some other passive income streams, other passive things that really kind of make sure that your foundation is really solid, just in case, you know, one day, you know, the cookie industry dries up or whatever. So for now, having a lot of fun in the strobe-waffle industry. And like I said, you know, there's other passive things, real estate and, you know, stock, just, you know, other boring stuff I say that also can pay the bills, so to speak.
Trust me, not boring. Those are my bread and butter right there, man. I love to hear about it. People call me a nerd, but finance, real estate, I come from a real estate family, and then finance is so interesting to me too. I actually had a Instagram page over the quarantine. I started it, just talking about all my investments and all that stuff, and I was like giving people day-to-day, weekly updates of how it was going. Obviously over the pandemic with stocks, after everything went down and the Dow was at like 18,000, 19,000, at this point, everybody who invested around that time looks like a genius. So, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm Einstein or anything like that. You know, everybody probably did pretty well, seeing the fact it's shot up now. But yeah, no, that's my passion. So definitely not boring, man. Definitely boring. A lot of very, very valuable nuggets of information.
Yeah, man, I've been following that page for a while. You know, great follow. You know, really enjoy the page overall.
Appreciate that, man. Hey, that's what I had it for, right? So people would enjoy it.
Yeah, of course.
Well, that's great, and you know how important it is. You know, I don't do a lot of advertising about you know those things just because it's not my normal my day-to-day, so to speak. But you know, as you just alluded to, as I've said, you know, whatever it is, for me it's real estate and you know and some stock bonds. I don't know all the ins and outs. You probably know a lot more than I do. I just surround myself with the right people that do, and I think that's also just as important. And so they can kind of help, you know, mitigate a lot of the risk. You know, once you have the right people that can help support, you know, what's your investment portfolio, what you're trying to do investment wise. So it's a great part about being an entrepreneur. You just look, you lose some. Sometimes you know, win more than you lose. That's the bottom line. Win more than you lose, right? You know, I mean, there's nobody that ever just
right. Making calculated risk is so important. I think sometimes people just think they got to make risks, but you want them to be calculated. I know Rebecca came to the tournament that I started in Las Vegas, and a lot of people are like, "You're going to start a tournament in Las Vegas? That's really risky." Because if nobody signed up for my tournaments, I had like 200 room nights that I was responsible for. So it was risky, but I didn't just roll the dice on that 6-figure contract. I made sure I did research and made sure I knew that I'd have teams, but it is not just a risk. You want to make sure that it's calculated, but if you get a good idea and you have the odds in your favor, that's when it's time to push. That's when you need to push in, is when the odds are in your favor and you have something going. And that's what Caston in a couple episodes is going to talk about, because she's had some business failures and like you had early in your career.
Yes.
So it is about learning, though.
Absolutely. No, you're exactly right. And calculated risk is based off, you know, information, education, obviously good advisement, and a little bit of luck, right? I mean, that is what it all comes down to. So, but it's possible for everyone.
That is what is great. Well, if you guys don't know Finger Licking Dutch, I'm a fan, John. I know that's something that Caston hooked me up with the first ones, and then I think you hooked me, or I was able to get a discount and just had to pay shipping, and that was a pretty sweet deal. So I jumped at that.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm glad you was able to take try them, and I'm glad you like them. You know, we tried to put our best foot forward to make sure we bring a just quality product, a premium product, and so we feel really good about that. And yeah, any of your listeners or anything, I'm not sure if we have the link active, but I'm sure I can do something to figure that out. You know, if they want to get some cookies, you know, just pay the shipping. I think that's what it was. I will send you the link, and you know, however you distribute it, you distribute it.
You got that, Braden? I saw Braden wants some. Maybe Jack, the cool guy with the shades. Julia, Caleb, maybe. You guys,
Super, yeah.
Hit me up.
You get a cookie. You get a cookie.
I'll send the link after the show. Free cookies. Just pay the shipping to wherever you live, and that's it. That's it. Let us know how you like them eventually. You know, go to follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
5 stars is the only review that I would leave. I gave 5 stars on that. I appreciated the hookup on free cookies, just free shipping. That was a steal of a deal, John.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Something you're like Oreos, or like, I mean, come on, you got to tell me, you know, like what kind and stuff. You know?
Yeah, so let me break this down a little bit. You know, I was getting on the business side for, you know, I get foundationally, but I'll let you know about the cookies. So what these are caramel waffle cookies, right? So this cookie actually originated from Holland over a couple hundred years ago, and it's really simple. It's a waffle cookie. It has caramel in the middle, and it's like in between 2 waffles, so like a thin waffle. And then so when you bite into it, I'm sure Brent can tell you, there's a little bit of hint of cinnamon and sugar all in the middle. It's really good. Something you haven't had before, not an Oreo or chocolate chip. But here's what's better about it. If you guys are anything coffee drinkers, if you like ice cream, whipped cream, even make a s'more. There's so many ways that you can eat it. You can take that pack and put some marshmallows in it, maybe put it in the oven, make your s'more. You can have it with ice cream. You can put it on top of your coffee. And then what happens is you let the steam heat the caramel in the middle, and it'll make it like kind of melty. So try that tomorrow morning when you have your coffee.
I will try.
Sounds like a blast, man. Sounds like a blast.
It's a cookie with an experience. That's for sure.
It is delicious. Clint, you got a quote for us tonight? What do you got for us? Give us a little bit of wisdom. Tell us a little bit something, educate our viewers.
Man, you know I got a quote for you. So this quote actually comes from a song that I was listening to today, and I listened to the song about 1 billion times. I don't know if anybody listens to Rod Wave. He is a rapper right now, probably one of my favorite artists altogether. Like, this guy is like – Meek Mill tweeted and said he was therapy. Like, listening to this guy is like therapy for a lot of people. This guy's amazing. And his style is different. I can talk about Rod Wave all day. Anyways, what he said was this: "Can't believe I made it so far. My whole life I've been working so hard." Brant, what we talk about all the time, you got to work. Get there, baby. Grind. Wherever you want to get to, grind. Get there, please. Because you can do it. No matter what, you can do it. My whole life I've been working. Can't believe it. Sometimes you got to sit back, even for a brief moment, you know, and sit back and really appreciate what you've done, you know, because it's so important to, you know, you can get really locked in on the prize of the goal of what you're trying to accomplish, and then you accomplish it, right? And that's amazing. The way that I am and the way a lot of people are, okay, cool, next goal. Great, this is done, awesome. I worked hard for it, I got it accomplished, awesome. Next, what's next? I feel like it's really important sometimes to say, hey, this was great. You know, really sit back, relax, be able to appreciate what you accomplished. So don't take anything for granted. You know, live in the moment, always look towards the future, and thrive and strive to be the best person that you can be and to accomplish all your goals. But don't forget to take a moment to really appreciate what you've done.
That's a great one.
That's good stuff. Mine, success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
Small
I
efforts.
dig that one. I like that one a lot.
Like you said, small improvements, continuous improvement. continuous improvement is important. So the small efforts, don't try to make a big giant leap in one day. Take a few steps every day. So I think that's something that for me, when I saw that one, it's just success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. So a little bit, day by day, 1%, compound that interest, get a little bit better, comes quicker, fast. So that's what I got. I'll leave it with that. Pot, give us our last closing shot. John, before we go, I really appreciate you, man. We've connected a little bit and definitely love getting to connect with you. And you got some humor with some personality from some people just shouting random stuff that they're going to get to, maybe they think that's really cool. If that's what makes you cool, then I guess I was never cool. But hopefully they wanted to come to this one because they knew that there's going to be so many people watching this on YouTube. Caston, I know Caston's still watching. So Caston, thank you. But they wanted to get their little moment of fame and their little bit of glory, so they decided to come jump on. So I appreciate you joining us.
I personally think these glasses make me look cool, personally.
It's okay. We can definitely figure out how to meet everybody next time and not allow Jack and Braden and some of those yoo-hoos in. So don't worry.
Wait,
what did I do? I didn't do anything wrong.
No worries. Well, I appreciate it. I had a blast being on here.
Awesome. Pot, close us down.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to take my last closing statements to first of all, John, thank you, man. Seriously, thank you for coming on today because this was amazing. This was a lot of great content. And like we talked about sports, we talked about investing, we talked about real estate, we talked about business. Like and those are my the things that I live for right there. Those 4 things I think I literally live for. So this was extremely enjoyable for me. I'd love to stay connected with you, man, because there's a lot that I could learn from you. So that would be great. But everybody that's listening, listen to this. And really, if you didn't catch it the first time, go back and listen to this because this is extremely valuable. And any further questions, do research, ask about it, ask somebody. But yeah, seriously, this was amazing. So thank you very much, John. You're a beast, and I appreciate you coming in and shedding some knowledge for us.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the show, man. I appreciate it. You guys are doing good work.
Thanks, John. And Caston, thank you. I feel so bad that you got booted, but Caston was my mentor in college. So if you guys don't know, 2 weeks from tonight, she will be the guest. So John, if you can jump back on, you're welcome anytime. Wednesdays and Sunday nights. Episode 17, we've done this 17 times, twice a week. So that's almost 9 weeks we've been going. So we're not stopping, and awesome. Glad to have you as a guest.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be a part. And I'm Casson. She's awesome. So the guests should be excited to hear her in a few weeks as well.
Absolutely. And I'm going to get you that link, Rebecca.
Yeah.
And if you guys want, I will get that to you. And we always end it with this. If you're going to walk on.
I like
it.
Get it? Couple